Greetings, community. It's me, Kevin. 1-2 Comic Talk. I hope you're doing well this evening. I know I can't complain much at all. I got a lot of progress done in the backyard. New comic book day is going to be happening really soon. I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm getting fairly excited. Unfortunately, there's going to be a few books that are not going to be made available to us that used to be made available to us through Marvel. It's only going to be made available, I should say, as a single option, which will be digital only. So that will unfortunately exclude me from some of the stories, but that's not why we're here. We are here to say cheers. So from me to you, good evening. Happy Margarita Monday. I don't know about you, but yeah, that's good. I definitely needed that. And I'm hoping you guys are doing well this evening. You know, I know we had a good interview last weekend. I know that between these shows, the kind of spontaneous, infrequent. On average, actually, it's been one a month as far as a thespian theater that I'm referencing. So in the past 3 months, we've done 3, nearly in its entirety. We hope to do another one soon. And other than that, what I'm getting at is, yeah, it's been nice because I've been talking to a lot of shops. Even though we're in this circumstance, I've been reaching out to a lot of people on YouTube. I'm trying to learn some of this stuff. I haven't really got a knack of all that, how to play with OBS and StreamYard and all that. I'm taking in consideration of a recommendation that was made by a YouTuber that is doing really well. And he made statement that it is best to wait about a year before you start making any, how should I say, significant investment into your actual system. So that's what I'm doing. I still making sure that Kai and I are maintaining the love that first started, us doing this. So so far, everything is good. We both still enjoy it. We both still enjoy talking to you, the community. We frequently discuss the shows that we have in the sense of the direction that we want to go and how are we best able to bring to you our experiences without being, did I do what I think I did? Yeah, I'm wearing this thing backwards. Hey Justin, still working? No worries, man. Let me not embarrass myself too much more and turn this shirt around. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to much better. A lot less embarrassing too. Being able to put together a decent show without actually ruining the integrity and organicness that Kai and I try to do. And that was the idea, is that Kai didn't want to, as he put it, to be too extra and maintain, again, the idea of it being just he and I talking really relatively unscripted, and of him just speaking. Oh yeah, again, cheers. So I am looking forward to adding a few elements to the show that I think will better exemplify what we're trying to do without undermining the idea of what he wants to maintain. Say, Cat, I hope you're doing well. Yeah, I got you, Justin. Again, the idea on these Mondays, just hang out, have a drink, nothing major, and if you can make it, cool. If not, hey, it's open down the road. Hopefully, we'll keep doing these things for a while. I understand that you as an artist and creator out there that I'm speaking to, along with, I know that individuals that are out there that support these people and go to these cons are missing out on some of the aspects that are associated with these conventions beyond just seeing an artist or creator get signatures, finding those books, rummaging through all the long boxes. There's memories to be had at these things, and a lot of times, especially when you're on tour, I'm in entertainment, so I understand these principles and these understandings of when you're on tour. Some of the things that you look forward to is the camaraderie with the individuals that you share these experiences of being on tour with. My dog's loving coming in and out. You good, girl? Hmm? And so one of those things that you look forward to is being able to hang out at the end of a convention, and as you're checking out of a bar or the last night of a Sunday night of a convention. Some of the things that publishers, all these people, what they'll do is they'll go hang out at the local hotel bar, and right now they're missing that. This is supposed to be that's what this show is basically a principle for, is allow artists, creators to hang out here and shoot the shit without actually having to worry about it being a quote unquote interview. Somewhere they can have their virtual bar, being that they don't have their real one because they're not able to go and do the conventions, and so there's many aspects that they're not getting. So one of those things is hanging out and just talking about, hey, what did you do? What did you talk about? What did you buy for dinner? You know what I mean? What floor did you stay on? Things like that. So I know that even in these times, there are still shared experiences that these people would like to be able to have, and they don't necessarily have that ability. Or in some cases, one of the things that, getting back to the spontaneity of it, is that sometimes these artists and creators have bumped into one another and they've never met each other, even if they possibly even working on the same book. Just because of circumstance that they may never even met, and even during a day of interviews, they may have been on a panel, but they don't actually get to talk and hang out. So sometimes it's not until when they actually get to go into a situation where they're now at a bar or they're at a restaurant and they just see each other from across the way. I've heard a lot of stories, and that's kind of what I'm getting at with this, is that this is supposed to be that virtual aspect of one that, yeah, exactly. And so I'm kind of, what I'm doing is creating a virtual bar for artists or creators to kind of come and hang out. And right now I'm just entertaining you guys to say, hey, I'm facilitating this. I'm hoping at one point you guys can come and hang out, and that's the idea behind this. And I will be doing this definitely for, I don't know, a decent duration of time, in a sense of until I go back to work, which I'm in entertainment, so I'm going to be one of the last people to go back to work, because a lot of the things that I do, the functions that I do, are in mass gatherings. I know that you guys are in similar circumstances, that you cannot do your conventions, or you're being limited to groups, and you're not going to be con as usual, I guess. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Tell me if I'm babbling. I know I'm babbling. But I appreciate you being here listening to me babble. So that's the idea. And people for hanging out, Cap, Justin, cheers. I got my dog hanging out here. And I know that there's individuals out there that just need to know that they're not alone in the fact that they're bummed out that these cons are not happening and stuff. So I figured that this was another way of saying, hey, I was hoping to see you at such and such. Cheers. Yeah, I was talking to a few people that I know, and they're actually making the same comment, how they miss being able to do their tour. They've gotten so used to it and accustomed to doing their tours, knowing where they're going to be, having it they're all planned out, almost like a definitive plan of attack of how they want to do their convention year. because I mean, between the conventions, you're also fitting in certain signing events at different shops, and you're trying to understand what the retailer's needs are. So when in situations like this, you can understand how to be able to best meet their requirements. I know that uh, I'm just going to throw out one individual, Frank. Frank Ober's really reached out to a lot of the retailers, and he's done a lot of actually, and Garrett has too. Garrett Gunn has done a lot of retailer relief type covers on up and coming books that didn't necessarily need these type of things to help their books out, but it was more to help out the retailers to go ahead and generate this amount of revenue and income for them because of their time in need right now, which I think is so fucking cool. You gotta admit. And Garrett, Frank, cheers to you guys, man. That you deserve it. But tell me, what are you guys looking forward to when New Comic Book Day actually lands? We're gonna start getting some trickle in on the 20th, but it's not going to be real until around the 27th. But hey, let's welcome in Don
Hey, Kevin, how you
to
doing?
our virtual bar. Hey, Don, how's it going? I'm well. How are you doing? Cheers.
Doing good. I don't want to cheers water. I hear that's bad luck,
No,
but
no, 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 no. That's fine. No, that's perfect. Man, I hope you're doing well. It's been a while since I've seen you.
yeah. How's your family?
They're doing well right now. Kai's yelling and screaming at the computer, which means he's playing video games.
Okay.
My daughter's hanging out with her boyfriend, and which he's basically been almost locked down with us throughout this whole thing, so which is fine and cool.
Yeah.
And my mother-in-law is here, which she pops in and out, and she only lives down the street, and this is the only place that she goes essentially is here, and then we'll go ahead and do the errands that she requires as far as going to like the stores and stuff like that.
Hmm.
That way she doesn't necessarily have to do it all.
Okay.
But how are you? How's thing? Are you staying safe and well and comfortable?
We're trying to. I do have to come and help take care of my grandparents, so there's that. And then we've had to make some limited runs here and there. And then, scary enough, I went to the post office like last week, and everybody was just like out and about like normal. Like I wasn't expecting that at all.
I'm noticing a lot of people are getting rather. Matter of fact, well, I'm noticing. I don't want to point out that people are getting so relaxed that I'm seeing parties in close vicinities to me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Where people are just going, oh, well, it's only these people or these people. And you have a gathering of, 12, 13, 14 people of, who knows? I'm not saying good or bad. I'm just saying that's what's starting to happen.
Oh, give me a second. I gotta close the window here.
Yeah, no worries. And so yeah, it is. Yeesh, at our place, luckily, we don't have to worry about a whole lot of influx of bodies coming in. It's just us, but it does make you nervous when you start seeing more people exchanging already. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that was a little bit to be expected, especially since it was Mother's Day this past weekend. Um, and hopefully everybody's still trying to keep social distance and be safe. I think a lot of people aren't aware that social distancing is like the first part or the first step, and a mask alone won't cut it. So we'll see how it goes. But business
Yeah.
slated to slowly start coming back. I don't even know what that means for convention season. If they're planning on just calling it quits for the year, or if they're thinking about enacting some sort of protocol to bring them back.
I know everything is tentative in the sense that no one wants to call it, but I think it's best right now that everyone hopes for the best.
Mm-hmm.
But I really do believe that it's difficult for me to see anything happening before August for me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tough one because if you have a convention, it's just going to be a crowded scene. Like no matter what the situation is, unless people just decide that's not what they want to do. But I have a feeling that people are going to sort of have like a pent up release that they want to go out and like do a big fun event. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how conventions are gonna tamp that down and manage that. Like, will they just have hand sanitizer stations at every gate? Like, how do, for example, if I go and I'm in Artist Alley, like, how do I sell to somebody?
Right.
How you doing? Uh, it's like, do we have tables in front of our tables where we exchange product and money? Do we even take money? Is that not allowed anymore? Like, is it all just going to be like NFC payments? Samsung Pay, Apple Pay, Google,
Right.
whatever you guys out there are using. I don't know if you've thought about this as a comic book fan, but there are a lot of intangibles to think about for convention organizers. And I get it. It's tough right now to be a convention organizer because you're under contract. I know a lot of convention organizers are waiting it out for, I guess, a force majeure clause, which,
Right.
like the whole act of God thing.
Right.
So it's a real tough position to be in, and I feel not only for the community at large, but everybody who's involved in all these events, because it's not just artists or writers or companies or publishers. It's team of organizers, their staff, tons of volunteers that want to be a part of the event. So it's a lot of people to think about.
Well, and beyond that, I mean, it goes to everyone in the transportation services, everyone in the, that's dealing with the, what is that? The drinks, the hot dogs, all that, the,
Yeah, concessions. Yeah.
yeah, concessions. Thank you. I mean, to everything in between, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's a bummer because there's so many, there's a lot of variables. There's a lot of things to consider. Even as a person that's both on your side, or a person or people that I just made mention, or even a person that might just want to be an attendee, because now you guys sit there and go, is it worth the risk?
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be one of those things. I feel, on the creative side. Oh, Kazoom side.
Thank you.
Yeah, a lot of us are going to be worried about handling product, moving product, and greeting people. And then, I don't even know how it's going to be as a fan. Like you're talking about transportation. Can you imagine taking a bus or any mode of public transportation? How does that work? So I'm glad, in a way, I'm very sad that San Diego Comic-Con is canceled for the year. But I'm glad that they took the consideration of people's health. Hi, Justin.
Hey, Justin.
We're just talking about conventions and what protocol they may have to enact in order for people to attend them again, if that's even going to be something that happens at all this year. And it's scary to think that it might be a possibility. I mean, on my slate, I have Rose City Comic Con, FanX, Salt Lake City is the week after, and then October is Baltimore Comic Con. I've been pumping Pablo up for that because I'm trying to get it nominated for the Ringo Awards. But those very well could happen, And I guess it really depends on how businesses start coming back into play and whether or not we see a spike in the next 3 to 4 weeks, I'm guessing.
It's hard to say because it seems like almost states are playing it their own way. So that it doesn't seem like there's any federal blanket going on, and and it's hard to tell even because we've seen certain exercises in saying, all right, well, we'll even restrict this county of not being able to go to the beach. So it's hard to speculate, and I don't necessarily want to go there in the sense of, I'm not playing those. But what I will, to touch on what you're saying, is I will say that that's just another one of those dynamics, because it's a matter of almost saying, all right, so where is this convention going to be? In what city? All right, now how are they observing? You know what I mean?
Yeah. If you let's talk about your perspective. Would you go to a convention in September or October, like the soonest?
See, and I'm on the other side of that too. Again, I'm in entertainment,
Yeah.
so it's fucked up. It's hard for me to say. That's what I'm saying is,
Yeah.
the heavy busy ones like LA Comic Con, the one I really want to go, I don't know. Because of that very reason of I know that there's going to be so many people there.
Yeah.
I know that if we're talking
Uh,
laws of mathematical probabilities, well, the more math that you add in there, right, the higher the probabilities.
exactly. It's
So,
numbers game.
I
And
really don't want to say.
Ontario is slated, they rescheduled for August 8th and the 9th. And I think, isn't that the same weekend that Emerald City Comic Con is slated for? And that's Washington. That was like ground zero in the States, right? Like, I don't know how Seattle is going to play that one out.
My understanding is these very these there's a few basically
Mhm.
groups that are kind of doing all these cons now. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? They've organized it enough to where it's just a few groups. I think these groups are trying to work with one another to say, hey, look, if we don't go ahead and kind of somewhat pace these things, we're going to go ahead and burn the hell out of people that are going to be slammed with books when they actually start coming to the markets as it is. You know what I mean? And it's a funky time right now because there's so many of these in-house signing events that are happening. People have books that are out. People have money that are out. They're not making money.
Yeah. I know CGC
Then,
has private events lined up.
right. Well, even CBCS.
Yeah.
So it's funky. I mean, to me, I think you guys are a better, how should I gauge, an understanding of really what's going on there because you're more reliant on the understanding and when these things are actually going to transpire again.
Well, it was interesting. I had a talk with a Wall Street Journal writer, and she asked me some questions that made me think this is along the lines of what they're looking at. And I actually referred Martha Donato from Long Beach Comic Con and Expo to talk to her, and she made it into the article. But one of the questions she had asked me is how we would feel as fans and as creators, just people on the floor, about case tracking apps, which I believe is what they're already doing in China and South Korea. As far as I know, in Japan, is they're doing case tracking apps, which is supposed to keep you aware of who has it, who doesn't have it, and it tells you if you're safe to go certain places. And I don't know how Americans would take that. We've seen the last 2 weeks, and we have a certain sense of entitlement and a certain belief to what our rights are. And you see really just tragic things happen. Like the poor security guard who got shot because he had told somebody to wear a mask. And the fact that somebody got murdered because of that blows my mind.
Right.
But I think mentally, I don't know if we're prepared for something like that. But if it's just like foisted upon us, what are you gonna do? Like TSA came out because of 9/11, right? And now we, as a society, accept that.
Yeah, it'd be a weird. I don't even. Yeah, it'd be weird.
I mean,
I would like to ask both of you. I mean, what were your guys' next con coming up?
Justin, you want to go first? I already mentioned mine.
Yeah, so I did C2E2 in February, and I was talking to a friend there, and he, I mean, this was back in February, so it wasn't as serious as it is now. Made the joke that this might be the last convention for the year, and I kind of just wrote it off. But after C2E2, I think I was scheduled for maybe Lexington Comic Con in I think that was in March.
Okay.
And then after that one, there were some in April and then some in May that I was supposed to go to.
Yeah. I mean, Free Comic Book Day got tanked for all of us. That was going to be a big event. I just say, Justin, what's behind you is amazing. Like, I can kind of make glimpses of your collection.
Thank you.
Display. Yeah, I think WonderCon, that was out for me. That was my first big, what was supposed to be my first major con of the year. luckily in January, I was at Long Beach Comic Expo, so at least I had one under the belt. But how was it at C2E2 for you, Justin? Like, were you guys discussing like what your thoughts were going to be for quarantining or sheltering? Like, was that even in the discussion in the air at that point?
At the time, it felt like the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Like, everyone knew it was there, but no one was really talking about it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I think at the time, you know, we're talking late February, I think everybody was still holding out and hoping that it wouldn't escalate and we wouldn't be at where we're at now.
Yeah, because Emerald City was going to be, what, like a week and a half, 2 weeks after that?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you know, I think in hindsight, I think if Repop knew how it was going to be now, I don't know if they actually would have done C2E2.
Yeah. Does anybody know if there were any cases that stemmed from C2E2?
Oh, that's a great question. I haven't heard anything.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything either.
I mean,
you know, but then again, it really wouldn't surprise me. I mean, that was at one point that was both the time period and the place.
I mean, yeah, and Washington was, all the senior and hospice homes and stuff were starting to blow up. Were people wearing masks at C2E2 or like?
I don't remember seeing anybody wearing a mask.
No? Okay.
That's what I saw. Yeah, I didn't see anything. Yeah.
Like, I think people were hesitant to shake hands, but I don't recall seeing any masks.
Okay. Yeah, I think at that point, everybody was like, we'll do the foot tap or the elbow bump.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's like, well, let's just bow at each other and stay away.
Which I'm good for.
Yeah. But
I'm good about bowing. I really am.
Our industry is, you know, aside from digital media, it's really unfortunate because, you know, like part of my love of comics is the tangibility of it. Like we have such a tangible medium and a tactile medium because, you know, like one of the joys of being a collector especially is, I think, going through boxes, right? Like going through a bargain bin.
You know what? You actually touched on a very poignant subject for me, and the reason I'm saying it that way is because of what's happening with Marvel.
Yeah,
and they're talking about, you know, dropping some titles, and some of these titles I used to read.
Yeah.
So and what I'm drawing the correlation to is what you're talking about is, you know, you guys are also very tactile people. You meet and greet people. It's all about networking with people, you know. So it's the same thing as you can do a lot with this medium, you know what I mean? But at the same point, there's essential aspect of meeting people and touching books and talking to them in person, you know what I mean? And actually hearing and maybe even feeling the vibrations of their voice, because that's what's sometimes selling you on the idea of a story, or you now actually gain and feel the passion of what's going on. And it's not just some virtual thing, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
It's all, yeah.
If you don't mind, I'd like to invite one more individual. Hey, Richard.
How you
Good.
finally get to.
I sat down and have left my wine glass somewhere. So this my attempt to be sociable and drink.
Oh yeah, you got to get a wine glass.
I'll be right back.
Exactly. Okay, perfect. I don't know if you guys been following, but Richard just gained a four-legged little companion.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I've been falling in love with both the idea that he's been trying to find a name for this this companion of his, and I'm glad he's not here and seeing this right now. I've been falling in love with the idea. I think he's fallen in love with this companion of his. Yeah, and it's fucking awesome.
I put it out there that he should name it Wile E. Coyote because it looks like a miniature coyote. Yeah,
There was Crouton, which I thought was good, but there was another one that I thought was really good. You know what I mean? And I can't remember what he said the name was. What I think it was something that the people were already calling it, and I was like, "Yeah, that's a good one."
Crouton name. Both my dogs are food named. I have a dog named Noodle and a dog named Churro.
Hello again.
Welcome back.
Yes, I actually the dog is not guaranteed mine yet, but I've just been told that it's 95% certain that I'm going to be the one getting it.
Okay, well, hope you get it. He's adorable. Wait, is it a boy?
Yeah,
it's a boy. They're telling me that he's 7 or 8 years old, but from my experience of dogs, I think he's about 12.
Yeah, I mean the face is a little gray.
Yeah.
yeah.
My publicists told me today that I absolutely need to keep the name Mr. Fox, because as a children's author, having a dog that will make my Instagram more likable, named after a children's character, is always a good idea. And I want to be rebellious, but I think they're right, and they're so rarely right.
And that was the name I fell in love with, was Mr. Fox. I like Crouton, but Mr. Fox is pretty good too.
Oh, Crouton, but by the way, was just me fucking with my sister-in-law because she was trying to explain to me who Caesar was. And I was like, I know who Caesar is. Like, I know that I'm 50 years younger than you, but I'm not stupid.
Well, actually, Crouton, that's my DJ name, because I'm a stale white cracker.
That's good. That's good.
Cheers.
So, hello, Justin. You're the only person I don't know in this group. Hi. Nice to meet you.
Hi, you too.
Oh, I'm sorry. I always make the assumption that you guys know one another, and actually, that is another reason why I do want to do this show this way, is that I want to bring in people that you may run into cons sometimes, but you don't always have that luxury to hang out with. Or sometimes you run into them in the bars, and that's your only time that you actually go, hey. So that was kind of the idea behind this, is I know you guys don't have that luxury of being able to do the cons right now, but maybe I can still generate that social event where you guys can have a virtual bar and definitely a drink. So
this is not. How do I get this thing to go to full screen? Because otherwise I'm going to get distracted seeing Facebook things. Is that possible? Or am I living in a fantasy world?
I'm on Mac, so I have no idea how anything works.
Okay, no, there's no full screen model, so I'm just gonna shut a bunch of windows so that I'm in the process of like dealing with like, somehow I've become the person that a lot of my friends are coming to with their, like, you know, lockdown based breakdowns, which is very understandable, but like, I'm not the most stable person in the world. And like, I was on the phone with the dog rescue people for like 15 minutes, and then when I hung up, I had 71 messages.
Wow,
that's too many. Like, it's all from one long conversation that's coming. It's just, anyway. So I'm closing that and ignoring it. Don, have we ever met in real life?
We have not, but I've seen you've thrown the gauntlet down on David Pepos.
I'm gonna destroy that guy.
Justin, do you know by chance David Pepos?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so I believe there's a beef now between Richard here and David.
It goes back a long way. Some might even say all the way to last Thursday when I'm going to admit it, a little drunk, made a joke on Facebook that he and I were in a feud. And then I was like, I should follow this up with some real like shit talk. And so I just like threw down the gauntlet. I make fun of David all the time because he's such like, all of his books are what if one thing was also another thing. It's like, he's got this formula, and like, there's actually no judgment on the formula, but it's just that like, I can never be near him at a con because I can't hear that, like, it's Calvin and Hobbes but noir. It's Wedding Crashers meets Kill Bill or Reservoir Dogs. It's Pokemon meets Pacific Rim, because he's so quick with it. Like, he's always in sales mode.
He's one of the best pitchmen I've ever heard.
It's amazing. He's a machine. And so I said, like, I can't remember what I said. I was like, okay, so just so everyone knows, my next comics company, I don't know, fuck it, Rainbow Bright meets Enron or something. And I woke up in the morning and I'd forgotten this had happened.
Yeah.
But I'd also sent David a message, private message, and said, hey, we should definitely have a feud because it'll make things more fun. But he hadn't responded to it. And so I was like, oh, shit, I actually don't know him well enough to have done this.
Well, coincidentally, I actually invited him to be here, so he's not here right now, but I just wanted you to know that.
I'm not saying this is true necessarily, but I heard the reason he's not here is because he's on a beach in Florida protesting quarantine. So I'm just saying, you know, he can be that kind of person if he wants to be.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah. His internet was down for like 5 days, so he had no idea this feud was going on.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yeah. I really thought if anyone would get on board with a stupid marketing tactic.
I feel like, you know, part of what you miss at cons is just the jibing that goes on and the fun and the shenanigans. Definitely miss that part, especially getting to know if you have really cool table neighbors and you can do that with them. Also people watching. That's a huge miss.
I miss my buddy Theo and I invented a game called Sneaky Cosplay, and it's when someone doesn't realize they're in cosplay, just accidentally dressed as a famous person. That's one of the most fun games to look out for.
That's a really good one, because you do really good.
Yeah, I was actually listening to a couple of people talking. They were saying that, you know, during the cons, one of the things that they do, because sometimes they get bored, is they try to come up with some of the most preposterous ideas for storylines, and then they try to see if they can make it work.
I mean, Cyborg Gorilla delivers pizza, right?
Imagine having that much power and using it for so little.
When I heard that, I just kind of fell in love with the idea. You know, I think that's great, because I have no idea what you guys go through, but I do know that sometimes you guys not only relish and cherish, you know, the person next to you, even if it's someone that you just met, you know what I mean? And I know that that's one of the things that you guys have to miss, is that sometimes that neighbor, or knowing that someone's going to be there with and for you, you know what I mean? When you go to a particular con, you look forward to hanging out with or meeting with.
Yeah.
It's because like by default, we're all best friends when we're in that place. Like, it's, you know, when you're a kid and you go away somewhere, like if you go to I don't know, some kind of fucking program for, you know, playing with Lego or whatever on the weekend. And there's one other kid who, like any kind of day camp, you get there, if there's one other kid from your school, even if you fucking hate that kid, they're your best friend when you get there, because like you have that one thing in common. And like conventions are like that all of the time, because we're all just surrounded by like, hey, I don't know you, but you're also a massive nerd. This is amazing.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the camaraderie again, is that we all are in the same. I mean, especially, I can't speak for you guys, because but I know that that's another aspect that you all share together. I mean, you three may not even have physically met, but that doesn't mean that you don't have aspects that you haven't shared with one another in some way or another. You know what I mean? Or even talk to people, that whole 6 degrees stuff, you know, I mean, you guys are probably only a couple degrees apart. And it definitely affects your work, even if you do, or should I say, even if you've met one another or not, indirectly it affects your work and the people that you work with, which is also pretty cool.
I feel that anytime I meet somebody, if I enjoy the company, I'm totally inspired by them. You know, like we were talking about David Pepos, for example. He's one of the best. Hello, Comic Crazy. He's one of the best pitch people I've ever met. And any time I learned anything about pitching, it was from him, because he just breaks things down, and he has it to like a science where he's like, these are two things that are in the zeitgeist right now that you can identify with, and I can sell you on it. Like, here's how we're going to do this. And it's genuine. He's not fake about it. He's so excited about what he does, and I think that's infectious. And it's like meeting somebody like that just really gets the juices flowing, because it's like, how do I capture some of that essence of what he's doing, like some of that success, like what I think he's doing well, and parlay that into my own repertoire, set of skills, and move forward with that. And I think that's the joy of going to conventions and meeting people. We're just, we're social creatures, as primates. And I think that's a part of who and how we are. So having conventions taken away from us does take that aspect out, but we managed to find other ways. Like you say, you're doing this to help connect people, Kevin, which is fantastic, and I thank you for doing that. We've had virtual cons. For example, Russell Nolte did his huge Alt FCD event for Free Comic Day, to take over what was lost for Free Comic Book Day, and that was incredible. I don't know if any of you guys had a chance to sit in on any of those panels or watch any of that or participate in any of the AMAs, but they were like, I felt like I was at a convention in the panel, like when I was asking people questions, and I learned about comics that I didn't know about before. And I haven't made time to go through all the comics, because I think there were over 70 comics that were free. But that was an amazing event. And I know a lot of people out there, there are cosplay groups that are putting on events right now, and other creators that are doing these amazing events with amazing creators. So it's great to know that, we may be prevented from one avenue, but we'll seek out a path and forge ahead in that other path until, we can get our stories and our artwork and what we want to tell people out there.
Exactly. Although, and I'm not saying this is true, I'm just saying it's something I heard, but David Pepos did kill his first 3 wives.
Oh man, Kevin, you see David again out there in the interwebs.
Oh my God! See, and this is I know this is the classic shit that normally fucking happens. These are the conversations that normally fucking happen.
Rumors get started.
Like I hate San Diego. It's both the city and the convention. But I would like, there is nothing better than like the late night drinking at that show. Mm-hmm. There's nothing that compares to it. I also, what I'm really, WonderCon is my favorite show because the hotel that we always stay at WonderCon has the world's saddest hotel bar that no one has ever had, that sells really good wings and has a karaoke stage that is like the size of it's like a 1-person stage. It's empty every year. And I look forward to those wings. And I know that you can get good wings pretty much anywhere, but right now you can't. But I've been looking forward to those wings for months. My life is very empty and small, it turns out. I start to really notice the lack of wings.
All right. Is this a secret you can let out, or may we ask where these wings may be found?
It is in the hotel that I stay at WonderCon, which I can't remember the name of. And we've nicknamed the place the Sad Bar. I can't remember the real name of it.
Okay.
It's one of like the it's not one of the fancier hotels.
Okay. Is it in that strip going down Convention Way, or is it outside? It's very, very close to the convention. So I think it's part of it. All of this is a blur to me at this point. Okay. Because it's been over a year since I was there. But yes, it's
it's right there with all the other hotels, but it's like one of the lesser ones that you can never remember the name of, and it's the absolute best. $8 for 16 wings.
That's a good deal.
Yeah.
Now you're also talking to a chicken connoisseur here too. So I want you to know, Richard, he's made it clear that how undesirable the chicken here in the United States actually is.
Yeah, I don't know why you guys chicken so much. Like, what did chicken ever do to America that made Americans hate chicken? Because like chicken can be amazing, and the rest of the world has mastered it, and you guys ruined it. You messed it up real bad. Like,
now, Justin, I know that you. I was looking at a couple of things on SourcePoint, and you had a couple of projects that were coming out on there. I was noticing. Now, I didn't really necessarily want to touch on work per se, but getting back to the whole con, I would assume that you were looking forward to going ahead and saying, "This is other work that I've done."
Yeah, I'm kind of bummed out. I went to conventions last year, but I didn't really network as hard as I could have or should have. So this year, I was telling myself that I was going to hit the ground running and be a little bit better about networking. And unfortunately, that hasn't happened.
Well, it's not necessarily true. I've actually, hey, you're talking to a person. I'm not carrying a whole lot of subs. You know what I mean? So if I've been able to see you, obviously you're enough places that I see you. So I mean, that's good. You're out there.
Yeah, I just try to work on as much as possible.
Well, I mean, what had kind of screwed you this year is the fact that because of this situation, it's kind of like someone threw a bunch of cement on your feet, so you went to hit the ground running and someone threw a bunch of cement blocks on your feet. So that doesn't help either.
Yeah, it's actually really weird. I've been busier than I think I've ever been during quarantine. It seems like because people are being told to stay at home, artists who have regular 9-to-5 jobs suddenly have time to draw. And so
right.
it's getting passed down the pipeline. I feel like it's been pretty much nonstop for me, working 6 or 7 days a week since it started.
That's great.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not complaining at all.
Yeah, it is really weird. I was just explaining to somebody who had asked me earlier in the day. I was like, yeah, I'm surprisingly really busy. Like, I don't know what happened, but I guess people just need more content as part of it. So yeah, it seems like everybody is on multiple projects right now.
Yeah.
Well, I've seen that you're on a couple projects, and I saw that you were doing what looked like a commission. And then same with you, Richard. You're doing your dark the Black Sand Beach and podcasts, and I mean, it seems like all you guys, because of the circumstances, is made you relatively, I guess, busy, right? In comparison to what you could be doing, theoretically speaking, I guess.
I think it's also like everything just takes so much longer because this is all just very draining. Like, my usual output is anything from 2 to 4 pages a day, and now I don't have to go anywhere. I have a decent office set up at home, and like today I drew 1 page, and it was a really easy page, and I just sat there for hours because I was like, I can't be bothered. I don't care. It's stupid. And it was a good day. Like, I haven't drawn more than 1.5 pages of comics since March. It's terrible. But so yeah, I feel much busier because there's just so much backlog now.
All right.
Yeah, I was honestly expecting like a little bit of a slowdown. I did think that I would have some downtime, but it has not happened yet.
Again, that beats the alternative. I mean, especially
Yeah,
in the present circumstance, I mean, so that's definitely good. And yeah, like I said, I saw that you were doing a couple of projects, and in addition to the things that you were doing, so that, I mean, That's awesome. And same thing with you, Don. I was noticing because I've been watching. You guys know I'm always putting all your guys' stuff up on our site. As soon as you guys post it, I'm posting it. So yeah, it's good that you're staying busy. I just miss the fact that I don't actually get to go see you guys. It's only like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, usually you see me, I'm at the Comic Bug on Wednesdays with the Sketchy Bug group. And, it's a weird feeling. I mean, we're on Discord as a group now. Where we have some behind the scenes stuff. We're working on an anthology. Thankfully, I finished my part of that. So there might be some minor editorial tweaks to go for that. But yeah, it's kind of a weird thing to like not have certain parts of your routine available. But at the same time, I feel, I don't want to say blessed, but I feel I'm just, I'm amazed, and it warms my heart that fans are still looking for work from a lot of artists. I'm getting commissions. I'm still sending out Pablo books. I sent out retailer packages recently to Texas, to Alabama.
Oh, awesome.
And then, finishing more anthology pieces, working on pinups, doing a pinup for Mike On, who does Out of Order with his wife Soul. They just released their number 5 comic with a variant cover by Don Walker that looks fantastic. I'm sure you've seen that cover. So doing a pinup for that, and then it's just been a steady stream of work, and then getting covers done. Because for me, part of what I was doing was also preparing artwork for what I thought was going to be a convention season. So I was just like, I'm just going to bang out a bunch of sketch cards and a bunch of covers, and then people are still picking them up and taking commissions and emailing me through my website. So that's phenomenal. And I thank everybody who's jumped on board to buy comics, to request commissions. If you're a retailer, thank you for picking up the books. Thanks for keeping indie books alive. I know a lot of people who are indie were able to get their books out because, the major pubs went down and they weren't sending out. But as indie people, we can pack and ship and just drop it off at USPS or UPS or FedEx or whatever and get it out to everybody. So anybody out there who's a retailer, if you're paying attention, do ask any of us here on the screen who have comics about our books. And I'm sure we can work out a wholesale deal for you. I definitely have a wholesale deal ready to go. But yeah, it's like I said earlier, we've found different means, different ways and venues of putting our stuff out there. And it's amazing that people are still working. Like, Richard's drawing still, Justin writing.
I'm a letterer.
Getting that out. Like, that's, because I think everybody thought it was going to be a death knell when everybody was like, oh, Marvel and DC are pens down. And I was like, no, indie people are still running Kickstarters. Like, Kickstarter right now is like really low on projects, I heard. But the backer amount is the exact same. And you see projects getting funded in like hours.
Well, actually, on the Artist Alley, which I had an ambitious goal. I didn't tell anybody until basically this last week. Yeah. But I wanted to have 15 Artist Alley shows in 3 months.
Oh, nice.
I wanted to help out minimum 15 shows, and that included, there was more than one artist on the show sometimes.
Yeah.
And then along with that, the goal is to have 1/3 of that Kickstarters.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, and that I know of, they're not only all funded, but I believe the 4 out of the 5 are funded, and all of them are going out right now.
Wow.
So the only one that's happening is the next one that's happening this Saturday is the last one for to do. Yeah. So I mean, I'm just getting back to what you're saying. Yeah, absolutely. It's a good thing. You would think that it might be quite the opposite, but I'm glad that it's not in the case of you guys. Now to kind of flip and change subject, have you guys, how should I say, gotten to projects or done things that you've been meaning to do that you've been putting off? Now, I'll start it for me is I told my kids that I'd had my backyard and front yard done 4 years ago.
Nice.
I'm almost done. I'm almost done in the backyard. And I believe it was Richard that I told you, right? That you could be my first guest, right? Yeah, be my first guest to do an artist alley in the backyard at the fire pit because everything's done.
You know who would be good as kindling for that fire? Is David Pepos.
Oh, fire there, Richard.
You know, I've already had him on the show. I already know. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this. He's flammable.
Oh my God, I got to get you guys together. I really got to get you guys together.
Can we just let's just take this, because basically Jim Higgins the other day, David posted, he made some comeback at some comment I'd made about how busy he was with work, and I just responded by being like, yeah, I'm really sad because I actually lost one of my jobs because the publisher went under because of this. So I'm actually really down right now and it's terrible. And he was like, oh shit, that got dark. And I was like, yeah, I'm really sad. Thanks, David. Thanks for making me feel bad. And then Jim Higgins jumped on and was like, your feud is sad. You guys need to have, like, you need to step it up. I thought this was going to be good. And you're both just like crybabies. So I think either what's going to happen is, you know, David will kill me, as he tends to do to people. Like, by the way, a lot of people don't know this, but the first three wives' names were Spencer, Locke, and Going to the Chapel. So it makes his books very dark. But either that or the two of us are going to team up and just beat the living crap out of Jim next time there's a convention.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, we haven't discussed it, but
you heard it here first.
I've never met Jim in person, so I'm just going to assume that I can definitely I'm going to have to I'll take some sand with me and just dump it in front of him and kick it in his face. That's what, like most of my conflicts do happen on beaches, but just in case this one doesn't, I'll keep a bucket of sand with me at all times.
Okay. I just saw a comment pop up.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry. I'm going quite bad. I have not left my house in 56 days.
Oh,
wow.
Damn.
I've not had contact with people.
I'm so glad you got that dog.
Well, it's 95%. We need to get the rest of
yeah. That's enough of a dog. You can give the other 5% back if you have to.
Yeah, I have 3 dogs, but they're in Canada, and so I haven't seen them for a long time. And of course, it's like the border is closed, and I was meant to fly to Canada the day before the lockdown started, and I didn't because and this is so embarrassing. I didn't because I had been asked to go back to New Zealand for some work stuff for a week, and I agreed to do it purely on the basis that they said they were going to send me to a My Chemical Romance concert.
Oh, you went there based on going to see a concert.
Like, I do not care about My Chemical Romance, but like, the 20-year-old in me is still like, yeah, I'd like to go to that. I've never seen them before. I'd like to go to that. And so I was going to fly all the way to New Zealand to go to this fucking concert. And then, of course, the New Zealand trip got canceled. And then the border to Canada. My husband lives in Canada, and I live here. And we usually travel back and forth constantly. And now we just are completely separate. And it sucks. And he has all my dogs.
Oh.
Well, at least are you talking to Paul?
Paul is not my husband. Oh my God.
Well, I mean, aside from, but are you at least talking to Paul?
Yeah,
sorry, I need a segue. I need a decent segue. I'm sorry.
I just really want to make sure you don't think Paul Lighting is my husband.
I'm sorry. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Let me start over. So, hey, have you talked to Paul at all?
Paul is far too young for me to marry. Yeah, we speak a fair bit.
You know how he's doing?
He's doing well. I mean, like he's quarantined with like his wife and his daughter, and so they're either going to kill each other, But like they're, those families that like each other. They're one of those.
That's us. Yeah, I'm actually one of those. Yeah.
I don't get it. And like this quarantine has brought it. Like my sister, who stabbed me in my sleep when we were in our 20s, has like added me on Facebook and is reaching out to me being like, "Hey, how are you doing?" I'm like, recovering from the stab wound, I guess. Go fuck yourself.
Well, actually, literally stabbed you,
Yeah,
not
stab me. A homeless man had told her that I was possessed by demons. So she saw no.
Wow.
Yep, she is considered to be the responsible one.
All right.
Yeah.
So,
Okay then.
And on that note, I'll talk to you guys later.
Oh God, this is when I found out Justin's dating my sister. He's gonna choose David's side in this whole thing. I just know it.
I'm gonna Switzerland this and remain neutral.
Oh, so you'll launder my gold for me? No, that was, oh God, I got that side wrong. I just made myself the Nazi in the Switzerland joke. Fuck. You're gonna launder David.
Nicely done. You want to try that one over again? Yeah, see, I can throw my foot in my mouth and you can do the same. See? It's not a one-way thing.
Yeah, actually, I should get going as well. I have to call my husband and have a glass of wine with him before he falls asleep because it's after 10 and he's very.
Gentlemen, to me, this is the 1 hour mark. This is usually what it is. It's an hour-long show. We usually bail when I'm done drinking. I drink anymore. That won't be a good show.
Great show.
But hey, you guys are more than welcome to come back next Monday. That's the idea. I want to go ahead and throw out more of a mixer, and this is for you guys just to hang out. This is a hangout session.
This was really fun. Thanks. And if anyone sees any just like broken glass or like knives with unknown substances on them, just watch out. David Pepos might be in your neighborhood.
Hey, I can't think of any better way to end this show.
I'm just saying I heard it somewhere.
Thank you very much. That was 1, 2.